OpenAI just introduced GPT-Live, and the obvious headline is that voice AI is getting smoother. But that is not the part I care about. The important shift is this. Voice AI is starting to feel like a live work interface. And if your AI can listen while it talks, interrupt, pause, use tools, and keep a conversation moving, then you do not manage it like a chatbot. You manage it like someone standing inside the workflow. Voice AI is not just becoming more pleasant to use, it is becoming easier to trust. That sounds like a product win, and for everyday use, it probably is. A voice assistant that understands pauses, interruptions, and messy speech will feel much more natural than the old walkie-talkie pattern. But for businesses, that natural feeling creates a new problem. When the interface feels casual, people treat the workflow casually. They ask faster, they share more context, they expect answers immediately, and if the assistant can touch tools, files, customer records, calendars, support queues, or payment flows, the voice layer is no longer just an input method. It is an operating surface. OpenAI says GPT-Live uses a full duplex architecture. Plain English, it can listen and speak at the same time. That matters because real conversations are not neat. People pause halfway through a sentence. They interrupt themselves. They say, "Wait, let me rephrase that." They ask one thing, then add a detail that changes the whole request. Older voice systems forced people into turns. You talk, then it talks, then you talk again. GPT-Live is designed to behave more like a live conversation. It can keep listening, it can pause, it can decide whether to answer, wait, interrupt, translate, or invoke a tool. That is useful. It is also why the control layer matters. The mistake teams will make is treating voice AI like a nicer chat box. That is too small. Chat has friction. You type, you read, you copy, you paste. You usually get a moment to think. Voice removes a lot of that friction. That is the whole point. But friction sometimes protects the workflow. If someone is talking to an AI support assistant and says, "Just refund them," or "Send the client our internal notes," or "Book whatever slot is open," the system needs to know when that is normal and when that is dangerous. So the question is not only, does the assistant understand speech? The better question is, what is it allowed to do after it understands? Here's the simple checklist I would use before putting voice AI into a real workflow. Voice. V. Verify who is speaking. O. Outline what the AI can access. I. Interrupt before risky action. C. Capture the transcript. E. Escalate when the workflow leaves the safe zone. That is the difference between a demo and something you can actually trust in operations. First, verify who is speaking. A voice interface makes identity feel obvious because a human is talking, but the system still needs an actual identity model. Is this an employee, a customer, a vendor, a manager, someone calling from a shared device? Before the AI can retrieve data, change a record, or answer a sensitive question, it needs to know whose permissions apply. In a normal app, this is boring login and role-based access. In a voice workflow, teams may forget that boring part because the conversation feels natural. Do not skip it. Second, outline what the AI can access. A voice assistant should not have vague access to everything just because that makes the demo smoother. If it is helping support, maybe it can search public help docs, ticket history, and the current customer account. But it should not automatically open internal finance notes, private employee comments, or unrelated customer records. If it is helping sales, maybe it can summarize call notes and pull approved product information. But it should not invent contract terms or promise delivery dates from a casual sentence. Voice does not remove permission design. It makes permission design more important. Third, interrupt before risky action. This is where voice AI needs to behave less like a smooth assistant and more like a controlled workflow. If the next step changes money, customer promises, production systems, legal exposure, or private data, the assistant should stop and ask for confirmation. Not a tiny hidden confirmation, a clear one. Something like, "I can draft that refund response, but I cannot issue the refund without approval." Or, "I found the internal note, but I cannot read it aloud on this call." That pause is not friction for its own sake. It is the control point. Fourth, capture the transcript. If voice becomes part of the workflow, the conversation becomes evidence. What was asked? What did the AI hear? What did it answer? Which tools did it use? Which human approved the next step? If something goes wrong, you cannot audit a vibe. you need the transcript, the tool calls, and the decision path. This is especially important because speech is messy. Background noise, accents, interruptions, and half-finished sentences all create interpretation risk. The transcript is not admin clutter. It is how you know what happened. Fifth, escalate when the workflow leaves the safe zone. Every voice assistant should know where its authority ends. It can explain a policy but not rewrite it. It can summarize a complaint but not decide compensation. It can prepare a customer response but not send it if the case is sensitive. It can help someone navigate an internal tool but not bypass access controls because the person sounds urgent. The moment a request becomes high risk, unusual, emotional, expensive, or legally sensitive, the AI should move the task to a human. That is not failure. That is a working escalation path. So the practical rollout is simple. Start with low-risk voice. Use it for search, summaries, training, navigation, meeting prep, intake, and internal explanations. Then add scoped tool access. Then add approvals. Then add fire risk actions only when the identity, permissions, logs, transcript, and escalation path are already boring. Do not start with the most impressive demo. Start with the workflow you can safely control. GPT-Live is interesting because it makes AI feel less like software. But that is exactly why operators should slow down. The more natural the interface becomes, the easier it is to forget that the system still needs boundaries. Voice AI will be useful. It will also make bad workflows faster. So before you connect it to support, sales, onboarding, fieldwork, or internal operations, run the voice checklist. Verify the speaker, outline access, interrupt risky action, capture the transcript, escalate out of the safe zone. When AI starts talking like a teammate, do not manage it like a chatbot. Manage it like a live workflow.